August 1st, 1914. After the assassination of Prince Franz Ferdinand of the Austro-Hungarian Empire, the German Empire declares war on Russia. Because of established alliances, France is preparing for conflict. A few hours after the announcement of the general mobilization, German civilians living in France are asked to leave the country.
Valiant Hearts, The Great War, is a point-and-click adventure game that follows the experiences of several interconnected characters during the First World War. Hi, this is Ivey from JustAdventure.com with a short review of one of my favorite adventure games in a long while. Valiant Hearts comes with a great pedigree. It's from Ubisoft Montpellier, the same studio that made most of the Rayman games, not to mention the legendary Beyond Good and Evil, which is one of my favorite games of all time. Maybe they'll eventually bring us the sequel they keep promising. I should warn you right now that I'm going to slobber all over this game like a newly adopted puppy. It's one of those games that checks so many of my boxes that I play it with a stupid grin on my face. First of all, it's about the First World War, a conflict that's woefully lacking in our current literature, movies, and games. Why is that? In many ways, the Great War created our modern world. The game is a mostly side-scrolling adventure told in glorious 2D. The art is simply ravishing, and the parallax effects give a sense of depth in the most delicious, nostalgic way. The game begins on a small farm in France, run by a middle-aged widower named Emile. When the war breaks out, his son-in-law Karl, a German national, must leave France and head back to Germany, thus instantly putting the family on opposite sides of the war. In addition to these two characters, you also get to play as Freddy, a burly American who joins the French army, and Anna, a Belgian nurse who gets swept up in the war as well. Years ago, reviewing such games as Pilgrim and Paris 1313, I declared my admiration for educational elements in games. I even like to talk about infotainment games back then. Valiant Hearts constantly drops historical tidbits your way, which add a great deal of context and interesting information to frame the action. Another thing I love about this game is the way the characters communicate. It's all in symbols, just like in 2009's Machinarium. It's very sweet. And for the record, anytime a game reminds me of Machinarium, that's a very good thing. This is a story and puzzle game. The puzzles have to do with manipulating the environment, working with machinery, and manipulating other characters. The puzzle design consistently delighted me. Valiant Hearts doesn't shy away from the horrors of war, but it's not a depressing game. The style and pacing give it a surprisingly light feel, despite the sad and disturbing things that the story touches on. A highlight involved a daring escape from a prison camp, which involved using sheep as camouflage and carrying a portable scarecrow to hide behind. But in general, almost all of the puzzles were fun to work out. The game has also one of my favorite things in any game, or in life itself for that matter, a dog. He's a fantastic pooch named Walt, and he's loyal, brave, and smart. You solve about half of the game's puzzles with his help. I totally fell in love with Walt, and I think he's up there with the great dogs in video games like the dog in Fable 2 and Dogmeat in Fallout 3. The game has an absolutely stunning score by a variety of composers, including lovely quotes from Offenbach and other classical stars. We need more Offenbach in our games. Even without spoken dialogue, this is a great game to listen to. It's also a short game, only 4 chapters. Even taking it slowly, as I usually do, I finished it in about 6 play sessions, and I was very sorry when it was over. This is a downloadable game for about $15, and you owe it yourself to not miss it. Grade A+. Highs. Gorgeous 2D art with charming parallax effects. Gripping story that's full of heart. Walt the Wonder Dog. Fantastic music. Wall-to-wall enjoyable puzzles. Fantastic, rare historical setting. Lots of extra historical tidbits. And characters you really enjoy rooting for. Lows, the game has one big thing against it. It ends. Thanks for watching. Look for more video reviews soon on justadventure.com.